Massive security for the funerals of Billy Wright and LVF victim Seamus Dillon. A man has been arrested in connection with Sunday night's murder in County Cavan. And out of the dark, but storm forecasts provoke fears of further blackouts. Good evening and welcome. This week's victims of northern violence, Billy Wright and Seamus Dillon, have been buried after funeral services in their hometowns about 15 miles apart. There was a big security presence. Both funerals passed off without incident. Seamus Dillon, a former Republican prisoner, killed in reprisal for the death of the jailed Loyalist Volunteer Force leader, was buried at Coal Island in County Tyrone. This afternoon, the centre of Portadown was closed as thousands of Loyalists from all over the north lined the streets for Billy Wright's funeral.
Portadown came to a standstill for this afternoon's funeral, deserted streets and empty car parks replacing the bustle of New Year sales. Some traders complained they'd been given no choice but to shut for the afternoon after receiving leaflets from the LVF. At the estate on the outskirts of the town, a steady stream of mourners gathered to pay their respects before a prayer service in Billy Wright's house. Here, as throughout the day, the media were kept well back. Those who got too close had tapes and cameras seized by stewards. When the cortege emerged from the estate, the crowd had swelled to several thousand. A lone piper led the funeral, an 18-strong honour guard in civilian garb alongside the hearse. Floral tributes from the Loyalist Volunteer Force to the fore. In the town centre there were more crowds and a substantial but discreet security presence. This has been the largest Loyalist funeral in years, reflecting Billy Wright's standing beyond the small group he led and the widespread anger in his community about the manner of his death. As Billy Wright was buried in Seago Cemetery outside the town, once again the cameras weren't welcome. The funeral oration was delivered by a friend and former Loyalist prisoner, Pastor Kenny McClinton. David Davenport, RTE News, Portadown.
A mother grieved at the loss of her son and expressed forgiveness for those who shot him dead. Seamus Dillon had been an active member of the Brackerville GAA club, and team members formed a guard of honour as his remains were taken from his home for Mass at the Church of St Mary and Joseph's. Coal Island Parish priest Father Seamus Rice praised the actions of the doorman at the Dungannon Hotel on Saturday night when it was attacked by LVF gunmen, and said Mr Dillon had given his life to save others inside the building. He also stressed the importance of continuing dialogue to achieve a lasting peace.
It won't be achieved through refusing to speak. It won't be refused by coming out of bigoted statements. It won't. It will be achieved by doing as Bridget Dillon has showed us the way to go, and that is through love, through forgiveness, but above all, through prayer.
Seamus Dillon was a former Republican prisoner who had served a jail sentence for 2 IRA murders in County Tyrone in the 1970s. A number of leading Sinn Féin members, including local MP Martin McGuinness, Martin Meehan and Jerry Kelly, were among the hundreds of mourners. Family members rejected a claim by the Ulster Unionist MP Ken McGuinness that Mr Dillon was still active in the IRA and said he had severed links with the Republican movement when he left prison in 1994.
My brother was not a member of the IRA. My brother was trying to rebuild his life. He had married, he was in love with the girl he married, and we do not want any retaliation on behalf of my brother. We don't want anyone to suffer. We want the peace process to work for justice, equality, and the end of discrimination.
Michael Fisher, RTE News, Coal Island.